You're watching PJTV. I'm Steve Green, and this is your Coast to Coast Tea Party. Last time we were in Burke, Virginia to meet Liberty Central Sarah Field. Today we're entering a Democratic stronghold to see how a Tea Party favorite takes on a Washington insider. So, from Pennsylvania's 12th Congressional District, the man fighting for the seat once held by John Murtha, it's Tim Burns. Mr. Burns, thanks for coming on today. I know how busy campaigning is.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I'm glad to do it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, we've never had an incumbent politician on the show, and we're not about to start today. So you're new to all this. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I've never been in politics before. My background is business. I had a pharmacy software business that I started in the basement of my home, and I wish I could say that I made all the the right decisions, but we made a lot of mistakes. But ultimately, we had over 400 employees. But I'll tell you, I would have never guessed that I would have gotten myself into politics. But, as we talked earlier, I've got kids. And, I believe that if we don't make some major changes and we don't make those changes quickly, that my children, your children, all young and future Americans, they're not going to have the same opportunities that we had. I mean, this quite literally could be the first generation where we pass on America that is not as good as the generation before. And, I just won't sit by and let that happen. I think we all have a responsibility to do whatever we can to help turn this country around. And for me, that was run for Congress.
Yeah, I've never been in politics before is a line I just hear more and more this year, and you never really heard it before, at least not very often. I've been following your campaign for a while now. I found out about you on Twitter, believe it or not. And it looks like you've been everywhere on this campaign. CPAC, Tea Party events all over your district. What's the voter mood like out there?
Well, I can tell you that voters all across this district, they're tired of Washington as usual. They feel like they've been taken advantage by the politicians in Washington. They're tired of the out-of-control spending. They're worried about it. They do not want to see this health care bill implemented, and they're really worried about jobs. And believe me, people in this district, and I think just like all across America, understand that it isn't the government that creates jobs. It's the private sector, and the government needs to simply create a business-friendly environment, and that's what we're committed to here, and allow the private sector to do what it does best. That's create wealth and generate jobs.
Yeah, I want to get to that in just a minute, but first, a little bit about your district. The seat you're gunning for was held by Jack Murtha for, I think, about 130 years. And this was a guy, he insulted his district, his constituents, he slandered the Marine Corps, and yet he kept winning re-election in a pretty conservative district as, he kept bringing home the pork. How do you overcome that kind of Murtha inertia?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Murtha is no longer with us, and really this race is no longer about him. This race is about me against Mark Kritz, who is a career Murtha staffer. His only experience really is working in government for John Murtha. And, this is a guy that the best he can do is hope to attract a job. He has no idea what it takes to really create jobs. He has no understanding the burdens that the government places on young and growing businesses. He's never met a payroll. And this is somebody who campaigned as a conservative. He claimed that he wasn't liberal. He said that he was going to vote and be his own man in Washington. And yet in the short time he's been there, he's voted with Nancy Pelosi 94% of the time. So I don't know about you, but I don't think that's conservative.
Yeah, do you just, to beat this Kritz guy, do you just give him enough rope to hang himself with his own voting record?
Well, between the voting record, you look at his experience, who is the right person for this job? I understand what it takes to create jobs, and my opponent, like I said, he's a career Murtha staffer. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. Here's a guy that said that he wouldn't have supported the health care bill, but yet he doesn't think it should be repealed. And the best he can do as far as campaigning is lie about my record. So this is a guy that we're going to campaign based on what we believe. We believe in creating jobs here and doing that by creating a business-friendly environment and stopping the out-of-control spending, repealing the health care bill.
Yeah, that's a really issues-focused campaign, and I think that's the smart way to run it in a year like this one. But let's look forward a little bit. Let's pretend it's next January. You've just been sworn in as a freshman congressman of PA 12. What are your top 3 priorities?
Well, I mean, there's no question that jobs is the top priority. Jobs in the economy. We've got to get the economy going again. And, I believe that these enormous bailouts, the outrageous stimulus plans, not only did they not work, they've got to stop. For some reason that these politicians in Washington believe that they have the ability to control the economy. Obviously, if they did, the economy would have rebounded by now because we have record deficits. We need to simply create an environment that's friendly to business. We have the second highest corporate tax rate in the world. We're simply not competitive. We need to make sure that we are competitive in the world economy. And, I believe that if the government would simply stay out and would have stayed out, that the economy would have rebounded by now. So there's no question. The top priority is how do we create jobs here in this district and in the country, and the best way we can do that is to lower taxes, create a business-friendly environment, and reduce the outrageous regulations. Every industry I meet with, literally every single industry, whether it's the auto industry, the coal industry, steel industry, healthcare, they all say the same thing to me. They tell me that they are the most regulated industry in America. And the fact of the matter is, every industry is overregulated by this government. It's burdensome. We continue to punish success and reward failure. If we continue to do that, then the end of prosperity is near.
And on Obamacare, what's the strategy with this thing? Do you try and repeal it with the president having a veto? Do you try and fix it, or do you just starve the beast and cut off the funding?
Well, I mean, obviously the best case scenario would be to repeal it, but I'm a practical person, and I don't believe that we would have a veto-proof majority, even though I do believe we'll do very well this November. So, as you indicated, starving the beast is probably the best we're going to be able to do. And as you know, these huge new bureaucracies that are created in this healthcare bill, they require funding. They require people. People require computers and telephones and office space, and that all has to go through the appropriations process. And as long as we've got good conservatives in Congress, I believe that we can ensure that these things won't get funded, and we can limit the damage that this healthcare bill will do until we can replace Obama in 2 years, and then I think we have a good shot at repealing this thing.
That's forward looking. I like that a lot. And wouldn't a Tea Party win in PA 12 of all places really tell the country that real change is here? Because I think that might be the best reason to get excited about this race of yours.
You know what? You're right. Even with all the problems that I see, the record deficits, we've got government payroll at an all-time high. The economy doesn't look very good. Unemployment is high. The good news is, everywhere I go, people are excited. And like you said, I've never been in politics before is something you're hearing. Well, it's something I'm hearing as well.
Yep.
The folks in this Tea Party, I meet people when I go to these Tea Parties, anybody from, coal miners to farmers to executives, business owners, physicians, lawyers. The common theme that runs through these Tea Parties are people who love this country, who want to save it and preserve it for the future of for future generations, for their children. And, I have a lot of hope because we have people that are getting involved in politics who aren't willing to take it anymore. And I believe that this November we will begin to take the steps necessary to turn this country around.
That's exciting. And time for the plug. Where can people go? What can people do to help you out, to get involved?
Well, one thing I've learned here, and I had no idea, but it takes a tremendous amount of money to run these campaigns. We need to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, I would encourage people to go to www.timburns for Congress and please make a contribution. And really realize that these campaigns cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. We spent over $1 million in the spring. And whatever you can do, please ask yourself, how much is this country worth to you, and make as big a contribution as you can to me or any good conservative candidate you believe in across this country.
Yeah, it's not just a contribution. That's an investment. And again, thanks for coming on today, and best of luck to you in November.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a real pleasure. That, of course, Tim Burns, and we need more people like him in Congress next January. About 218 people like him will be a good start. So go to timburnsforcongress.com. Check it out. Get involved. I can't tell you just how important it is to win in Democratic strongholds like PA 12, and it's never been more doable than it is right now. And you can help make that happen, too. Thanks for clicking in, and for PJTV, I'm Steve Green.